Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Randy Orr here with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. And today I'm going to take you inside one of Laguna Niguel's true sweetheart neighborhoods, Crest de Ville. Laguna Niguel has no shortage of upscale communities. Some are gated, some are not. Some are known for their ocean views, some for their larger homes, some for privacy, and some for just the location. But every city has a handful of those neighborhoods that seem to command a different level of attention, not only from buyers, but from the real estate community itself. Crest de Ville is absolutely one of those neighborhoods. This is a community that over the years has developed a very special reputation. It's not one of those neighborhoods where homes are constantly coming on the market. Inventory is typically limited, and when a good property does become available, buyers pay attention very quickly. That's one of the clearest signs that a sweetheart neighborhood exists. Low turnover, strong demand, and a buyer pool that understands the value of the location. Crest de Ville is really made up of two closely connected sections. One is Crest de Ville Terraces, which is generally represented by slightly smaller footprint homes within the community. These homes often appeal to buyers who want the prestige, curb appeal, and the location of Crest de Ville, but may not necessarily want one of the largest homes in the neighborhood. And then you have the Crest de Ville Estates, which are the larger homes, the section of the community that has larger footprint, larger square footages, and just bigger homes in general, and in many cases more estate feeling. The two sections do overlap in feel and location, and that's part of what makes this community so interesting. It's not one of those single cookie-cutter neighborhoods. It has layers and variety and a sense of progression as you move through. During the driving tour, I'm going to show you the differences between these two areas, the overall street presence, the curb appeal, and the way homes sit in the neighborhood, and why buyers are so drawn to this community. I'll point out where the smaller homes begin, where the larger homes become more prominent, and how the overall feel of the neighborhood changes as we drive through. And towards the end of the tour, when we're in the Crest de Ville Estates area, I am going to highlight and point out one of the exceptional homes that recently sold. It broke the mold on recent pricing, and it's an example of why homes command the attention that they do. It'll show why buyers are willing to push value where upgrades and location have really made a difference, and how the market has responded to some of the finest examples of homes in this community. Rather than just talking about prices in general terms, I want to show you a real example as we drive through so you have a better understanding why certain homes here command such attention and why Crest de Ville continues to stand out as one of Laguna Niguel's most desirable neighborhoods for resale. One of the things that I have personally witnessed over my 30 years in the business is the transformation of Crest de Ville. This community has blossomed. Many of the homes have been upgraded and remodeled and expanded and elevated over time. What may have been once considered simply a nice Laguna Niguel neighborhood has grown into one of the most sought-after residential resale neighborhoods in the entire city, and the market has proven that. Homes here often sell quickly. They often command very strong prices. The dollar per square foot numbers can be impressive because buyers are not just buying square footage, they're buying a lifestyle. They're buying the setting, the community, the curb appeal, the prestige, and the scarcity. They are buying into one of the neighborhoods that people talk about when they're looking for something special in Laguna Niguel. That is what separates a neighborhood like Crest de Ville from many others. It's not only about the homes themselves, it's about the total package. The entry into the community, the pride of ownership, the mature landscaping, the way the streets feel, the manicured appearance, the way homeowners have continued to invest in their properties and contribute to the overall impression of the neighborhood. When buyers drive through Crest de Ville, they usually understand very quickly why this is a neighborhood that is held in such high regard. There's quite a confidence about it. It does not need to be flashy. It does not need to shout. It simply presents itself as one of those established, high desirable Laguna Niguel communities where people feel fortunate to live. And for many buyers, Crest de Ville checks all those boxes. It offers an upscale environment, attractive homes, a strong sense of neighborhood pride, and a location within one of South Orange County's most desirable cities, Laguna Niguel. And because there are not a lot of homes that often come on the market in Crest de Ville, buyers have to be patient and ready to move when the right property does appear. So today, when I take you through the streets, I want you to watch for more than just the houses. Watch for the feel of the community. Watch for the spacing, the curb appeal, the upgrades, the pride of ownership, and the way the neighborhood has matured over time. That is what makes Crest de Ville one of the most desirable sweetheart neighborhoods of Laguna Niguel. Now let's head out, get in my car, let's take a drive through the neighborhood. We are on Clubhouse Drive, approaching the main entrance to Crest de Ville. And I think by now you know how I feel about Crest de Ville. I consider it one of the sweetheart neighborhoods in all of Laguna Niguel. And it's taken 30 years that I've lived in this community to gain the appreciation of this community. It is truly an exceptional community. So we're going to be approaching the gate. It is 24-hour guard gated, which is very, very nice. And the guards are usually very pleasant. I've never had a problem getting into the community. So I'm going to now have a brief conversation with the guard. And it'll take just a moment or two for him to confirm my credentials. Only realtors and delivery services are allowed in. If you're not supposed to be in this community, they really are pretty tough about not allowing you into the community. So that's a good thing. It'll take just a minute now for him to approve me to enter the community. And then once in the gate, I want to explain that this community is divided into 2 different subdivisions, all considered Crest de Ville Estates. All considered Crest de Ville. You have 2 communities. The one on the right, as we enter, is called the Crest de Ville Estates. Everything on the left of the main street, which is South Peak, is considered Crest de Ville Terraces. So once inside, what we're going to do is we're going to visit the terraces first, and I'll take you through some of the streets, highlighting some of what I appreciate within the community, and get in just a moment here. Almost there. All right. So I checked out. He approved all my credentials. Typically, you have to show a business card. A lot of times, sometimes they'll have you show your real estate license. So we are in, and this is South Peak, the main street that travels right down the center of the 2 communities. Now, ironically, there's almost the identical number of homes on each side. We're going to make a left here and go down just one of the streets in the communities for the terraces. And I want to point out that within this community, there's an abundant number of streets that are called single-loaded streets. This is an example of one. Single-loaded means that there are homes only on one side of the street, and on the other side, they didn't build any homes. They could have, but they left a little open space, and they left it a little bit more spread out than making it congested. And this is called a single-loaded street, where you only have residents on one side of the street. The one thing you're going to notice in this community on both sides is the immaculate manicured neighborhood. All the landscaping, all of the homes in terms of condition, they are immaculate. There is a tremendous amount of pride of ownership in this community on both sides. There's not really a class distinction between the left and the right, but the distinction is the floor plans, overall square footages, sometimes the views. On the left, the terraces where we are right now, the floor plans are generally overall smaller in scale. There is a little overlap, and the homes on the estate side do extend to larger floor plans. And on the estate side, there have been several remodels that have really pushed the square footage. But both sides are considered equal, just a little different layout in terms of the different floor plans and available configurations. In the terraces, there are 129 residents. Now, on the left, you're going to see what is typical in this community, which makes it so prestigious. people are constantly renovating their homes. There's a renovation in process right there as we drive by. They're not disruptive. Most of the neighbors understand that you want to upgrade your home, but there is oftentimes a decent amount of construction and remodeling going on, which in the end upholds the values in the community. The community values here are the highest for any subdivision in Laguna Niguel that is a gated subdivision and tract homes. The dollar per square foot in this community will rival custom homes or sometimes exceed custom homes on a dollar per square foot basis. They are very expensive in terms of dollar per square foot, but justifiably so. They show extremely well. And I've been showing in this community my entire career for 30 consecutive years. I don't think I've ever entered a home that would be considered a fixer or needing major renovation. Either the original construction's been kept up very well, but in most cases, extensive remodeling has been done. The other thing is many of the streets, in addition to being single-loaded streets, and as you travel down this street, there's only homes on one side, but most or many of the streets are cul-de-sac streets. A few of them do go through, enter off of South Peak, and then regroup at a lower portion of South Peak, the main street that divides a community. But many, many of these streets are cul-de-sac streets. On the terrace side, which is where we are right now, square footages range from the smallest home being 3,033 square feet. That's how the builder built the home. And then up to 4,195 square feet is the largest floor plan. And there are several floor plans throughout the community. I don't think I have a favorite. They're all desirable. As we turn this cul-de-sac, I want to call your attention to what's across the street. Let me reposition the camera here. So across the street, we have the community pool that is on the corner of South Peak and one of the entrance streets to the estate homes. The pool is the only amenity in the community in that there are no clubhouse facilities. There's no tennis court, no sports court, no basketball court. There's a little park or kind of a green belt where the pool was, but the pool is the only community feature within the entire community. On the left, the street that we're going to parallel, you'll see it up in the left-hand corner there. That's South Peak, but we're going to travel through the through the terraces one more time. We're still on the terrace side. And again, another example of a single-loaded street. And yes, we do have some speed bumps that we have to travel over. And today is trash day, so we're blessed with trash cans being at the curb. But the homes, again, are very well manicured. In most recent sales on the terrace side in the past 12 months, the range has been from $3,077,000 to the most expensive home recently sold was $3,975,000. The days on market are relatively low because there's just not a lot of turnover in the community. Most people stay. We've now turned down one additional street still on the side of the terraces. And I want to talk a little bit about dollar per square foot because in the city of Laguna Niguel, and different months will be weighted a little differently. Some will have more expensive homes sold. Other months will have maybe on average a few less expensive homes sold. But average dollar per square foot in the city of Laguna Niguel for single family residents, not condos, range somewhere around 700 to 750, sometimes a little bit higher on average, dollars per square foot. So in this community on the side of the terrace, which is where we are now, dollar per square foot has ranged most recently from $873 a square foot, clearly over $100 per square foot more than the average of the city, justifying how well these homes are maintained. And the highest dollar per square foot on the terrace side was $947 per square foot. Now, there have been some home sales, maybe a little bit older, because I've only gone back about 12 months for the most recent information, just so I'm relative to the date that I'm recording this. Again, another single loaded street. But the highest dollar per square foot currently has been $947 on the terrace side. Now, on the estate side, I'll go over those numbers when we reach that community. And again, a different set of floor plans ranging higher in square footage, overlapping a little bit towards the middle. But the dollar per square foots have been exceptional on this side of the estates. So we're approaching South Peak, and the gate is just to the right. Remember, we made an immediate left as soon as we came in. So the gate is right there out of view, but we're going to make a left on South Peak. I want to comment about how gorgeous this main street is. As you travel down South Peak, the main street that divides the community, everything on the left being terrace, everything on the right being estates, the tree-lined street is just simply beautiful. There's very little traffic. It's not a busy community. For the most part, these are for the most part, these are full-time residents. In other words, there are not a lot of vacation homes here where people use these as a second residence. It's mostly family, young children, families who live here full-time or couples who live here full-time. It is not a community where people own second homes here. But the street is really an amazing drive. When we get towards the bottom, I want to point out a gate that we're not going to be able to drive past. And that gate separates a community just beyond the gates called South Peak. That community is 100% custom built. This community is 100% tract built. In other words, certain floor plans, a range of floor plans, nothing is custom built in Crest de Ville. Although they rival, honestly, some of the homes that I've been in will rival custom homes or maybe even eclipse the beauty of a custom home. It is amazing what some of the people who live here, it's amazing what they've done. And we're going to be passing the pool on the right-hand side where I showed you before. We were on the left-hand side of this street. The pool is on the right. And that street that we're going to pass right now, that is one of the entrances into the estates. But I want to travel down to the end of the street to show you the whole length of the community and show you the set of gates that we're not going to be able to drive through. Residents of this community cannot pass into the South Peak community of custom homes. You have to enter that community from a separate guard-gated entrance, and only residents and those allowed into that community are allowed to go beyond the gates and enter into the community. We cannot do it from this side. But this will give you an idea of how long the distance is from the top gate to the bottom gate. And it's coming up here pretty quick. So we're going to make a left-hand turn here off of South Peak into one of the streets that enter the estates. And the Crest de Ville Estates, again, are the larger homes. They range in size from the smallest at 3,251 square feet up to 5,000 square feet. Now, that was a modified floor plan. Most of the floor plans stop at 4,500 square feet. But some of the residents have made additions that push the square footage out. I'm approaching a street called Cardiff, and one thing that you'll know about me is I'm extremely honest. Cardiff, if I had to say which is the best and which is maybe the worst street, Cardiff has some challenges. It is a single loaded street, homes only on one side. All the homes on the left-hand side do have views. The nice thing about the community is many of these streets have views. But the negative about Cardiff is all the homes on the left-hand side, even though we're a distance from Crown Valley Parkway, this street parallels Crown Valley Parkway, which is the main street that travels from the freeway to the coast. And if I had to say one challenge of this street, although the homes are beautiful, well-maintained, and highly upgraded in many instances, this one street, when I do show on this street, some of the buyers comment that they don't want to look at or even hear a hint of that main street that runs through the city of Laguna Niguel, Crown Valley Parkway. It is the main artery. There is some traffic noise. So these homes on the right, if I had to say anything to be 100% honest, these homes on the right do have a little stigma of the traffic noise. So they'll sell for a little bit less on a dollar per square foot basis. We won't hit any record sales, I don't think, on this side of the street. And we're not going to travel down to the end, but it is a cul-de-sac street at that end. But that is Cardiff, the one street that I would say you need to take into account when making an offer, that it is the street that has a little bit of traffic impact. I'm going to travel down one of the premier streets, and the purpose of driving down the street is to show you community a little bit more in the Crest de Ville Estates area, but to show you also one of the premier properties that did recently sell. We're going to turn back onto the South Peak and travel to the street where I want to show you the most recent landmark sale. There was a sale higher than this, but it was back about 2 years ago. And it was that floor plan that it did have about 5,000 square feet. It did have a dead-on ocean view, as this home that I'm going to show you has. And I will put links in the description. I will put a link to this particular home because I wanted you to take a look at it if you have any interest in taking a look. The home tour that'll be in the link will show you how extensive the remodel is of this home that we're going to go to. But that landmark sale a couple of years ago that was right at $5 million was a home very comparable to this home in terms of location, end of a cul-de-sac street, dead on ocean view. You can't buy location. I mean, you can, you're going to pay for it, but what I mean is you can't add value in terms of after you purchased. You can't make the location any better than what it is when you buy. So you're either going to get the location or you're not going to get the location. At the end of this street, I'm going to call your attention to a property that did recently sell, a record sale for the past 12 months. It was located at 44 New Haven, which is the street we're on now. And the Pacific Ocean is straight in front of us. If you flew over that home that we're approaching, you would fly into the ocean. It's a couple miles away, but nonetheless, that home where the cars are parked as we're approaching, that home was the most recent landmark sale. It sold for $4,575,000. It's a 4-bedroom floor plan. It does have 2-bedroom, 2 full baths, and 2 3/4 baths. It is a unique lot in that it is a pie-shaped lot, which means the apron of the driveway from left to right, what we're seeing right now, is narrower than the back side of that lot. The lot is pie-shaped, so as you travel to the back, it becomes very expansive. The cool thing about this house is that that lot sitting at the end of the cul-de-sac comes to a distant point. In other words, the lot comes to a point of a far distance from the back of the house, so it's not a cramped backyard. They have an incredible pool, and as you look from the back of the house straight through across the pool, you have an unobstructed view of the Pacific Ocean. It is absolutely breathtaking. The other thing about that home, besides the end of the cul-de-sac, the ocean view, the pie-shaped lot, and the point, is it just has a 14,000 square foot lot. One of the biggest lots in the community. It is really spectacular. Again, the link is in the description if you care to visit and see more details about this home. But this home crested $1,000 per square foot. There have been higher sales on a dollar per square foot basis, but in terms of overall sales price at $4,575,000, this is the most recent landmark sale. It actually closed at $1,035 per square foot. And that is incredibly high on a dollar per square foot basis. On this side of the community in the estates, There also was a more recent sale, but it was a smaller home, significantly smaller. It was 3,200 square feet compared to 4,400 square feet. And that home crested $1,100 per square foot. It actually sold for $1,168 per square foot. Ultimate sales price was $3.8 million. It was a full price offer, and that home sold in 3 days. Very quick sale. Hit the market, went for full price. And when you have sales that sell that quickly, 0 days on market, 1 day on market, 2 days on market, when you have homes that sell that quickly, you're going to typically have at or over asking, and you'll typically have very high dollar per square foot price being paid for a home. Homes on this side have ranged in sales price in the past year from $3,075,000. Ironically close to the low sale on the terrace side, which was, if you remember, $3,033,000. The sale on this side was $3,075,000. So you can get homes starting at about $3 million on both sides. They'll be adjusted based on upgrades and view, of course. But the highest sale on this side was $4,575,000, the home that we just took a look at. 120 total homes on the estate side compared to 129 homes on the terrace side. On a dollar per square foot basis, I want to talk about that a little bit for the estates. They range from the low of $868 per square foot to $1,168 per square foot. There actually was one sale in the community that crested $1,200 per square foot, and that is a total anomaly, but that home was incredibly upgraded. They had a disappearing wall on the back side of the home. The doors literally disappeared into the walls on the left and on the right, opening to the incredible backyard. It had a covered pagoda. It had within the pagoda, within the covered area, it had barbecue area, it had fireplace, sitting area, a sit counter. It was really elaborate. I will put a link to that property in the comment or in the description below if you care to look at that home. So I'm going to put 2 links: the home that we just looked at and the incredible over-the-top home that sold for over $1,200 per foot. I'm sure one day in the near future we're going to have another home that hits those high dollar per square foot ranges, because this community really wants that buyer who is willing to appreciate and pay for this community. We're traveling back up South Peak. We're heading towards the only gate to the community, only one way in and one way out for visitors, and that is the gate that we just came through, and we're going to be exiting. So I'm going to head back to the office. I'll wrap it up with some additional narration. But I really hope you've enjoyed this driving tour of Crest de Ville. The entire community is called Crest de Ville. Many people don't even realize there's a separation of the estates and terraces. If you're a guest coming into the community, you don't have the clue. You think they're all just beautiful, which they are. You're just going to think they're all homogeneous homes just on the left and on the right-hand side. But the people in the know, realtors, of course, people who are buyers, people who know this community know that there are 2 separate halves. There is no hierarchy here. It's a matter of the floor plans just overlapping somewhere in the middle, but offering some smaller floor plans on the terrace side, some larger floor plans on the estate side. Noting that on the estate side, people have gone over the top for improvements and customization. I'm going to head back to the office. Hope you enjoy this portion of the tour. Well, I hope you've enjoyed our time driving through Crest de Ville, one of Laguna Niguel's true sweetheart neighborhoods. As you can see, this is a very special community. From the curb appeal and the pride of ownership to the scarcity and availability of homes and the impressive values that buyers continue to place in this neighborhood. Whether you're interested in Crest de Ville Terraces, Crest de Ville Estates, or any of the Laguna Niguel neighborhoods and exceptional communities, I would be honored to help you with your search. If you're thinking about buying, selling, or simply trying to understand which neighborhoods might be the best for your fit and your lifestyle, please reach out. With over 30 years of experience and more than 1,000 home sales in my history and a deep knowledge of Laguna Niguel real estate, I'm here to help and help you make the right move. Thank you again for watching. I'm Randy Orr with Berkshire Hathaway, changing lives one home at a time.